when you're the star of the show, you hold the weight.
I don't even want to talk to you no more.
I don't give a damn who you're surrounded by.
I can guarantee you most of the audience is gonna agree with me before they agree with you.
How much are you still enjoying the job?
I wake up every morning with two thoughts. Number one, how do I make my bosses more money? And number two, how do I get some of it?
I'm undefeated, never lost.
Would you stop it?
He said, shoot the ball, damn it. That day I was Steph Curry. Never again.
Greatest three athletes of all time.
Muhammad Ali, Michael Jordan, a third is hard.
Hey, bienvenidos. Welcome to the show. Coming up, we're going to share with you a highlight from our brand new Real Talk, Real Change special on education in America. It was produced in collaboration with our friends at Chevrolet. Trust me, this is fire. You don't want to miss it. Hey, but first, anyone who knows me, or for that matter has been watching the show, knows that I love basketball, can talk about it all day long. Today, I may have the only guy who can talk about basketball more than me. Of course, I'm talking about Stephen A. Smith, star of ESPN, their main anchor, main commentator. He's got a wonderful new show, Stephen A's World, in addition, of course, to First Take. We get into it a little bit. Let's see who's right. Let's see who's wrong. Hey, man.
Hey, what's going on, bro? How are you?
Good. How have you been?
I'm doing all right, man.
You look like you've lost a little bit of weight. Do my eyes deceive me?
I lost about 19 pounds, and then I gained about 4 pounds of muscle. I've been lifting a little bit now, so I'm just trying to slim up, and ain't nothing nastier than skinny fat.
Well, you know what's impressive is that you did it during this time, because everybody else I know gained weight. So if you're one of the few people that defy gravity, that's not bad.
That's what I tried to do.
Kwame Brown is gone. The City of Angels, Hollywood, just should be celebrated. Throw a parade already, whether you win a championship or not. This man was a bona fide scrub. He can't play.
This brother's on the show, and he like, Stephen, how dare him not be here when I am on this show to rave about my Cowboys and watch what we do. And they are gone yet again, another year. They haven't won a damn playoff game.
I'm gonna hope that he's lying, Max Kellerman, because if this happens, if this happens, Max, I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself.
How much are you still enjoying the job? Because it's funny, as I'm sitting here with you now and appreciating just how much you are asked to do every day, because you've got radio, you've got TV.
I enjoy the work, the politics or the minutia per se that goes along with it. That's gotten old. I gave up my radio show to do my television show, Stephen A's World on ESPN Plus, because digital seems to be the way to go.
The reason why no one had a problem with them was because they were honest enough to say so and not look at folks like they were peons.
Yeah, I'm on First Take. I host my own NBA show, which is Sports Center with Stephen A. Plus, I'm the NBA analyst for ESPN for Sports Center.
Devin Booker was just hot because he's a young superstar in this league, and he sent LeBron James home in the first round for the first time in his career.
The work doesn't faze me. What fazes me is all the people each job involves. Because your phone is constantly blowing up, or there's text messages, or that gets old real quick.
Do you have a chief of staff? Do you have a right hand? How do you moderate that?
With my production company, I've got a number two that handles a lot of things for me. But on the shows, whether you have another executive producer or you're co-hosting with somebody or whatever, you know, when you're the star of the show, you hold the weight.
We talk about the GOAT here, the greatest of all time, Michael Jordan, and you running your mouth talking about you gonna beat him one-on-one. Why would you say something so blasphemous?
In my heyday,
blasphemous.
he would need help.
Really?
I'm undefeated, never lost.
Would you stop it?
I don't give a damn who you're surrounded by. However excellent they are at doing what they do as producers and people behind the scenes, you're the one that's in front of that camera. And so as a result, the weight ultimately transfers to you, and you got to hold it down. And to make sure that you're as close to perfect as you could possibly be, you want to know everything that you need to know so you're not caught off guard. And that ultimately forces you to communicate with people you don't particularly want to communicate with. And there's nothing against them. It's just that it's always something.
Now I can ask about Kobe and his greatness. We're not debating that this boy is great right now. We're gonna debate how he compares to other greats in history, but we're not debating his greatness anymore. He's the man right now.
You know, one of the things I've been thinking a lot about is the path to success. How do you see what happened in that arc of your career, and what do you take away from it?
In 2005, the guy that gave me the show was running the network. His name was Mark Shapiro. I started the show in August of 2005. He left September of 2005 to go run Six Flags for Daniel Snyder, who owns the Washington football team. And so my resident champion, per se, who, was a brainchild for this show, was gone. And so what happened is the friction that developed because that show was gone with other things that they wanted me to do for considerably less dollars that I thought I deserved. And so that ended up leading to my exit from ESPN. And when they came back, during that time I was gone, I realized a lot of the mistakes that I made because I assumed a lot of things that I knew about this business, assumed that my name harnessed this kind of cachet that would enable me to make requests or demands even that I wasn't equipped to make. And so you educate yourself about the business, and that's what I did when I was gone. Instead of talking about my worth, I studied my worth. I found out what it truly, truly was. And that put me in a position to make things happen for myself that obviously has catapulted me to be in the face of the worldwide leader, and a black face at that, which is not something that you ever anticipated.
Is Jay Cutler right now not the epitome of white privilege in the United States of America? What did he do to deserve this job?
I wake up every morning with two thoughts. Number one, how do I make my bosses more money? And number two, how do I get some of it? And when I put it like that, there isn't anybody that's not going to be receptive to what I want to say, because they recognize that my number one mission is to make sure they're successful. And when you have that kind of mentality, it opens the floodgates because it makes an inordinate amount of people receptive to what you're bringing to the table, because they know that you're trying to create something that they stand to benefit from as well, not just yourself.
It's still the night shift, just brighter. Still a night out, but everything fits in. Chevrolet, making life's journey just better.
All right, so rewind it all the way. Where'd you grow up, and what were you like if I'd met you at 8, 9 years old? Would I have been calling you Stephen? Would I have been calling you Stephen A?
I was a dude, grew up poor in the streets of Hollis, Queens, New York City. Through the grace of God, I had the greatest mother on the planet Earth, God rest her soul. She passed away in 2017 after a long bout with cancer. I was the youngest of 6. I had a brother that passed away in a car accident in 1992. I have 4 older sisters who I love dearly. I'm basically a family man. I've got 15 nieces and nephews, and so even though I'm a dad now, the bottom line is that I've always had that kind of chemistry and camaraderie and that family kind of atmosphere. I've never been a guy that wanted to run to the club. The best kind of parties I love is the backyard, the barbecue, surrounded by people who are part of your inner circle that you love and know, and they know you, and you're free to be yourself, et cetera, et cetera. I've been incredibly ambitious because I got left back in the 4th grade because I had a 1st grade reading level. And then my older sister, Linda, along with my mom, they all taught me how to read. And so ultimately, that and my love for basketball took me to Winston-Salem State ultimately. My mentality was to always work tirelessly. I never considered myself the smartest person in the room. I knew that I could speak in a way that was profound enough that it would have an impact, that you couldn't just dismiss my delivery, my presentation.
Anybody that'll bring up Ross, yo. Nostera,
He's a backup now to Nazi Mom.
He deserves it. He's lucky in the NBA.
But in the same breath, I never considered myself brilliant. I just knew that I was somebody that would outwork everybody.
Tell me about your mom.
She's the greatest human being I've ever known. She was the number one ultimate source of my inspiration. She's the person that pushed me, that motivated me. When I think about the challenges that I had, some of the temptations of the street life, growing up around drug dealers and things of that nature, some of the things that I easily could have fallen prey to, she wasn't the only reason that I was able to avoid those things, but she was the main reason. And although I had my own agenda and my own individual goals, my number one goal was always, always, always to never disappoint her. But she was funny because she didn't know anything about sports. She literally would be like, EPS and whatever network. I don't know where he works. She had no clue. She just knew that her son was on TV, that everybody knew me, and that I was considered a success, and she knew that I was obeying the law and building a life for myself and my family, and she was proud of that.
Hey, what made you choose Winston-Salem State?
I went to Thomas Edison Vocational and Technical High School in Queens, New York, studying electrical installation. My senior year, I made the basketball team. And so when I made the basketball team, people were looking at me because even though I was tiny, like 130 pounds, soaking wet, and 5'9", I could really shoot. And so as a result of that, a friend of the family's named Harold Funny Kit, he used to play at Winston-Salem State for Clarence Big House Gaines. And he said that he was going to take me down there for a tryout. And so I went down to Winston-Salem State because he drove me all the way down there. And Coach Gaines, I kept passing the ball, and Coach Gaines blew the whistle and he said, "Are you a shooter?" And I said, "Yeah, he said, "Then shoot the ball, damn it." You know? And I proceeded to hit 17 straight three-pointers. And he signed me to a scholarship on the spot. That's the last time I hit 17 three-pointers in a row.
I was going to say, I mean, Steph Curry doesn't hit 17, so okay.
That day I was Steph Curry. Never again. But I was that day. And even though I cracked my kneecap in half my first year and I was never the same, it was still the best 4 years of my life because that experience just did wonders for me. It introduced me to HBCUs, what HBCUs are all about. It felt home. You usually go to predominantly white institutions. If you're a black person, you're the minority. And it's bad enough you're the minority in American society overall, just from a numbers perspective. But you want to see you really feeling like a minority, go to a predominantly white institution, because it ain't gonna be too many black folks that you have there with you. So to see people who look like you, who share your cultural identity, having similar stories, similar trials and tribulations, you don't really have an excuse to lay down and just get rolled over and just accept that, because these folks are side by side with you who look like you and share the same challenges, scratching and clawing and fighting their way to ascend. And those are the kind of things that I could speak to about Winston-Salem State. It didn't have a journalism program. It had a mass communications program, but it did have a school radio station. It did have a school newspaper. I was able to learn a thing or two about journalism, and that experience enabled me to get internships, which ultimately enabled me to build a career. I've been a brand ambassador for HBCU Week over the last 2 years. I've raised over $11.5 million and over 2,000 people who received scholarships to an HBCU. I've got ESPN and Walt Disney involved. I've been very blessed and fortunate that they're willing to help me with that mission.
I'm going to hit you with a little bit of a rapid fire, where you guys used to call the cold hard six-pack on best. Who's been your best partner on the air that you've ever had?
Skip Bayless.
No way Scottie Pippen was a top 50 player.
What?
Michael Jordan made him. Yes.
No, you're going too far.
Don't get me started.
You're going too far, Skip. You're going too far.
If you could have dinner with anyone, dead or alive, right now, who would you have dinner with?
Dead, it would be Malcolm X.
Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to?
Alive, it would be Barack Obama.
You believe in a fair and just and inclusive America.
What's your karaoke song?
Red, red wine.
That's good. I didn't expect it. That's good. I love a surprise. Greatest three athletes of all time.
Muhammad Ali, Michael Jordan. A third is hard.
Who are the contestants?
You know, I think about Tiger Woods and how he's transformed the world of golf. I think about Steph Curry, the greatest shooter God ever created. LeBron James, phenomenal. And then I think about Bill Russell. Who went through more than what Bill Russell went through? I would tell you, just off the top of my head, it would be Muhammad Ali, Michael Jordan, Bill Russell. But I reserve the right to change my mind upon further reflection. Serena Williams is another one.
Hey, listen, we need you, and we appreciate you, and thank you for being a part of this. I hope I get to see you when the world cleans up a little bit.
Same here, my brother. Looking forward to it. Thank you so much.
Monica, come on down. Now, what did you tell me you thought about him beforehand?
Oh, I don't want to say that. This was a different type of interview that I've experienced with him. It was more of a conversation versus what I'm used to seeing on TV.
The truth shall make you free.
You can't really tell him nothing. You know, he knows who he is.
He's almost made himself one of the characters in sports. Eli, are you ready?
I am very aware that I'm saying this to you, who are my boss, but when he said, when I wake up, one of my first two thoughts is, how do I make my boss money? I definitely feel that way, and I love hearing about how his come up and his grind, and like, I guess gravitas is the word I'm looking for here. He had gravitas.
Yeah. Miles?
I like that he sang his karaoke song.
Red, red wine.
Oh, he did.
One thing that I took from him was, my team isn't piggybacking off of my success, it's vice versa. it just got me thinking about like what types of mentalities or philosophies just naturally go into athletes that are within team sports.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed Stephen A. What an interesting guy. Appreciate what he had to say about hard work. Appreciated his journey in and out of ESPN and back again. And man, oh man, talk about someone who's not afraid of a little bit of controversy, a little bit of challenge. Look, as I promised, we've got a special highlight that we'd like to share with you from our new docuseries that takes a look at systemic racism inherent in our education system. It's tough, it's challenging, it's important. We partnered up with our friends at Chevrolet in order to do this important work and have this timely conversation. Take a look now at Real Talk, Real Change.
It's still the night shift, just brighter. Still a night out, but everything fits in. Chevrolet, making life's journey just better.
Joining us now are students at Summit Sierra High School. Now, they come from different backgrounds, but we're sharing a classroom today. Better than that, we're having a candid conversation about education, including race in education. I'm the son and grandson of teachers and spend time in a lot of schools. I've probably been in over 1,000 schools, I think, around the world.
Wow.
Probably across 50 countries. How have any of you seen race play out in schooling and education, good, bad, or otherwise?
For me, how I think like race definitely plays into that is the support system. Like when you don't have people that are higher up or role models that you can look up to that look like you, it affects you. How can I be as great when there's no one else there to look up to?
Black girls are misunderstood, misread. A lot of their identities teachers do not understand, or oftentimes, you know, they are victims. And if we can have policies and education reform, real education reform, that really gets at the most marginal in our society, we're gonna be able to make some real changes.
Who else has seen race play out in any interesting ways in education?
I think that's a big issue in a lot of public schools because of the way society views race and views black men specifically. You end up with a lot of black men being sent into detention and missing out on school.
Like he's saying, the punishment system, school to prison pipeline, the bells, the detention room, missing learning, just all that. And mostly black kids, the security officer will hang around the basketball court where the black kids are playing basketball.
At school Tuesday, Jamil says his son's teacher took this staged photo with a foot on his neck.
Your son has learned to lie to everybody and make excuses because you taught him to make excuses that nothing is his fault. This is what black people do. This is what black people do.
I personally believe that police aren't needed in the school place. I understand security, but I think that security is different than police. When we start policing black and brown students from that early of an age, that's when they start getting stuck in the cycle.
Hey, that was a highlight from Real Talk, Real Change. If you want more, be sure to check out the entire special, which is now available on YouTube. Thanks as always to our friends at Chevrolet. Hey, if you're enjoying the show, remember it doesn't have to end here. You can like, you can subscribe, you can listen to the podcast, shoot, you can tell a friend. I'll see you soon.